acquaintances of the shooter, saying he made statements about gays and radical Islam. Co-workers spoke up, but it appears everybody was afraid to appear racist. Judge Napolitano is here on a totally different note here. You've got some interesting background information about the shooter and his employer and the CIA.
His employer is a contractor for 100 governments around the world, including the United States government, including the CIA. Now, we don't know exactly yet what he did for the employer, but the employer provided security and contractors, a word that can mean a lot of things in the intelligence community, to the CIA and other American intelligence communities. Listen, he may have been a janitor there, but how could he have been employed by an employer doing work for the CIA with the background that he had, with the prejudices that he had against gays, with the attitude that he had about radical Islam and about ISIS? How could they not have noticed it? He qualified for the highest level of weaponry that one can qualify for in the state of Florida. He lawfully owned the same weapons that the Secret Service carries when they protect the president, Mrs. Clinton, and Donald Trump.
You are talking about a breakdown in security checks, background checks to individuals in his position.
Yes, an extraordinary breakdown, which is probably being investigated. The FBI has many teams out there now. I assure you, one of these teams is investigating this.
But you've always been big on the issue of privacy. The government agencies cannot just investigate people. They've got to have due cause or whatever
which is what poses curiosity in my mind of the who, what, when, where, how, why. When the FBI interrogated him twice, what did they learn? Did it give them articulable suspicion, the lowest level that permits them to commence an investigation? Did it give them probable cause, a higher level, which permits surveillance? What did it tell them about him?
I understand that some people came forward to say that this man, this shooter, was in fact making statements to his co-workers about 9/11 being a wonderful thing, that kind of thing.
Right.
And then they took that to the police and the FBI. The FBI used that as the reason to investigate this man, but because they could not come up and narrow it down and say, yes, he definitely said that, and it's X, Y, Z, he was given a clean bill of health. He goes away and gets these weapons.
Okay, I'm not critical of the FBI. They obviously know a lot more than we do. But it would be very interesting to find out what they learned from and about him when they had these interviews. And did other governmental agencies know about him? Did the NSA know about him?
Can I just
Did he show up on any of their electronic
I'm so sorry to interrupt. Please forgive me. But the company he worked for, G4S, the security company, did partner with government agencies and the Department of State's Homeland Security to provide security to federal buildings. So that's the level of access that that company he worked for had.
Now, this raises the question of Muslims working in security work in America, just like the issue was raised at the airports in Europe, France, where Muslims were working in secure positions.
The French, yes.
I mean, this is a whole ball of wax, Judge.
This is a tremendous
Pandora's box.
This is a tremendous Pandora's box. Did he show up on any of the NSA surveillance? Or does the NSA receive so much information they never got to him until it was too late? What did they know? When did they know it? What did they tell the FBI, if anything?
And what's your position on Muslims being able to have security clearances at
I don't care about a person's ethnic background. I care about their patriotism to the United States.
But that's what's valid here. That is what's valid. This terrorism is coming from Muslims. It's not coming from Episcopalians, for heaven's sake.
Well, 99% of Muslims are not terrorists, but the government's job is to find the 1% that are. And listen, the government has so much on its plate. I am not critical of the FBI. I am curious about what the FBI knew, but I'm really, really curious about the company that Elizabeth just mentioned.
And it's also worked with U.S. nuclear facilities as well.
And they have provided services to entities that we know were wholly owned by the CIA.
Well, do you, as a libertarian, have a problem with increasing the surveillance and the investigation of any and all Muslims with any security clearance whatsoever? And you do it on the basis of their religion.
The Constitution,
you have a problem.
The Constitution wouldn't permit that, but the Constitution would encourage the government to use whatever evidence it had about people like this.